Ready, set, go.
Greetings undetermined spectators of the World Wide Web. I am Tom Lanky Guy. Welcome to Depression Quest. This game that I found on Geo, and I thought it seemed like something that I should play. Not even necessarily that I want to, just because it doesn't look like something that's meant to be fun or entertaining or anything, but it's something that should be experienced. The makers of the game have sort of compiled various experiences of people that struggle with depression and kind of tried to link them together in this experience. I should say, and it also says in little paragraphs here, if you're watching and you are easily triggered by stuff like this, then I highly recommend don't watch this playthrough. I'll survive the few reviews if that's what it takes. But I think I'm playing this firstly so that I can understand a little bit better what many of my friends are going through, maybe even if just for a little bit. And second, that if you are watching it and you do struggle with it, maybe you can feel a little bit less alone and know that other people are going through the same sort of thing. So, this is also a portion of the proceeds from this game are donated to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So, if you guys would like to donate to that cause, I highly recommend it. Let me get right into this. This is going to be a bit of a different playthrough just because of the seriousness of it. It is early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other named Alex, who you are rather fond of, that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months. The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job. Okay, so I can click on stuff if I want to know about it. A variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring but pays the rent. You'd like to be doing more with your life, as would your parents. You're still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. You're also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes makes dealing with these things difficult. You feel like this is probably your fault, and on bad days can feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy. But you're not quite sure how you can break out of it or how other people deal with these feelings and seem so very functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on thinking about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep. Let's find out about Alex. You met Alex through a mutual friend a few months back. The two of you hit it off pretty well that first night, and after a series of initially awkward dates, you finally became a couple, much to your surprise and excitement. Alex is 3 months younger than you are and is currently a student with a part-time job and broad social circle. She's also got a wide variety of interests, and oftentimes you worry that you might be too boring for her, but she's been good at trying to reassure you that she's happy with you. Your relationship consists a lot of nights in watching Netflix, and you both got time off work and she doesn't have classes, with the occasional social outing that she tends to have to talk you into attending. She tries to be understanding when you are in one of your moods, as she puts it, though you are starting to feel like she doesn't understand what it's like for you. This is a source of tension in your relationship. Coupled with your reluctance to want to go to college parties, this feeds your worry of not being exciting enough for them. Wow. Alright, so that's not fun. The rest of your social circle. Let's find out about this social circle. Your social circle is made up of a few close friends, some of which you've known from high school, and some from jobs that you've worked. You've also made various acquaintances through reluctantly going to social events with Alex, and you keep in touch with a few friend of friends that you occasionally run into. You also have several online friends that you talk to regularly, that you feel less guarded with, possibly due to communicating and the safety of being behind the keyboard. You enjoy the low commitment of the friendships since they don't expect very much of you other than to listen and share personal thoughts and experiences. Despite the low commitment, you feel fairly connected with these people and tend to be more honest with them than people you interact with in real life on a day-to-day basis. You feel incredibly nervous, trying to make new friends on your own, and are very good at talking yourself out of going to unfamiliar places or larger social engagements, regardless of how much you may actually want to attend. Meeting new people stresses you out to a high degree, and this is something you wish you could work past. You admit you have a bad habit of flaking on social engagements, even with longtime friends, and are puzzled as to why some days you just can't force yourself to go see these people that you really do care about. Those that have stuck around long enough to be that close with you understand that this is a thing you sometimes do, and have seemed to more or less accept it, even though they chide you for it on occasion. However, you've had friends in the past give up trying to maintain a friendship with you because of this trait, taking your social anxieties as a personal slight, or eventually getting tired of trying to track you down all the time. You feel incredibly guilty about this, but are not quite sure how to change. Alright. Let's find out about my day job. I think this episode might just be dedicated to finding out about my life. You have a day job which you feel is nothing really special. Started out making minimum wage, but have stayed around long enough to be making enough to support yourself. The work is dull and unrewarding, and most days you feel like just about anyone could do it. You have a hard time relating to most of your coworkers, so you mostly keep to yourself and get the work done while you're there. There are one or two people you chat with, and you wouldn't consider yourself close with them. A lot of days lately you have a really hard time getting out of bed and forcing yourself to go in. You're starting to wonder how long you can keep this up. You'd really like to find another job in your field of interest, but feel like you are underqualified every time you look at online job postings. Sometimes you think about going back to school, but you would be unsure how you would be able to support yourself and wonder if the degree would really help anyway. Yeah. Alright, and what about my parents? You're one of the few people you know of whose parents never got divorced, but you do wonder if they still love each other sometimes. You have an older brother named Malcolm who has moved across the country with his wife to work a high-paying job. Every major holiday that you see him at, you feel a little bit jealous and like the lesser kid, despite being genuinely happy to see him. You feel very ashamed of these feelings. Your parents genuinely care about you. This often involves inviting you back to your childhood home for dinner, though your mother thinks you never visit quite enough. But you get the impression they don't fully understand you. They want to see you succeed and don't know why you haven't gone farther in life yet, because you're so smart and talented. Anytime you've tried to talk to them about your motivation issues, they tell you that the solution is simply to work harder or want it more. Your father is generally more forgiving of your lack of a career path, while your mother seems to think you're too smart to be in the position you're in. You know they love you and that they're not bad people, but you really feel like a big disappointment sometimes. Alright, well, now that we know all that, let's keep moving. It's an unseasonably warm Wednesday evening. You've spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so, you found your job motivation flagging more so than usual. You've been in a fog practically all day, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing half the time, and your time seemed to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late, another couple hours at least. You briefly consider using this serendipitous solitude to catch up on that project you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. Let's find out about this project. A while back, you and some of your older friends were out at a bar catching up. After liquefying considerably more of your paycheck than was perhaps responsible, and ending up thoroughly in your cups, you opened up to the only people you really consider yourself close to, and end up launching into a drunken tirade about the meaninglessness of your utterly menial job, and ultimately your own experience, your own existence. Having never really seen you in such a state before, your friends were briefly taken aback by your sudden, uncharacteristic outburst. One of your friends suggested that you get involved with your hobby on a more regular, long-term basis, suggesting that spending your energy on something you actually care about might help you to better cope with the crappiness of your 9 to 5. Although you were embarrassed that you let your guard down and you felt self-conscious at seeming to have single-handedly brought the mood down at the table, you convinced yourself on the cab ride home that maybe it would be worth trying out. You began your project some months ago and have miraculously managed to keep at it, though your level of motivation and subsequent effort rises and falls considerably. While you were surprised when you started at how good it felt to actually work on something you were passionate about, lately you've found it hard to muster the energy to really care about even this. Gotcha. Okay. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain, unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable. By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down on you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. More than anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed. Interaction. You are depressed. Interaction is exhausting. You are becoming more and more withdrawn. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. Okay, what do I do? Reluctantly sit down, turn on the TV, crawl into bed. Knowing my work habits, I should probably just try and make myself do something. That's just what I need to do. Yeah. You make a stop at your fridge, turn your favorite playlist on, and sit down to start working. Yeah. You open the last file you were working on, and as soon as your hands touch the keyboard, your mind goes blank. All of the motivation and ideas you had when you arrived home vanish in a flash. Your brain seizes up, and you find yourself physically incapable of any sort of productive thought. You take a break to loosen up, popping into your email inbox, Twitter, various other internet-based distraction fodder. Frustratingly, this pattern continues throughout the course of the evening. As soon as you try and focus on work, your brain diverts all its energy away from the task at hand. While you keep flipping back to your work, you find the sheer mental effort involved in keeping your brain focused is overwhelming and tiring. A few Twitter arguments, YouTube videos, and sparse amounts of actual work later, the playlist flips back to track 1, and the ice in your glass has all but melted, diluting the last dregs of the Coke you were nursing. You look at the clock and realize that a few hours has passed since you sat down to work, and you've made negligible progress. I can just wake up early tomorrow and catch up, you think to yourself as you climb into bed, even though you know that never actually happens. You're very depressed, you spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have little energy or motivation. Alright. It's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes, telling you that there's going to be a really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough but aren't particularly close. You don't have to work in the morning, and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You are feeling kind of run down. You've been fatigued most of the time lately. You mention that you're feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain these feelings to someone else, and say that you aren't sure that you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over your phone, but you can swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week, and she sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints You can stay over with them tonight after the party. What do? Well, can't shake off my funk and go have a good time with your girlfriend, because it's not that simple, obviously. I'm glad they've crossed that off. The thing that I would probably do, I'll be honest, I'd probably agree to go. Just because, yeah. You agree to go even though you're really not feeling social. You know it's important to Alex and you really like to see her. That's why I would, yeah. Seeing her does make you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all the usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around, and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building and try to still your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm so happy you came. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. Please stand in the same spot. Let's just cling to the back wall, because it's still kind of being there, but not committing to, not being ambitious in social interaction. Let's do that. As Alex leaves, you are not quite sure what to do with yourself. Standing in the middle of the room leaves you feeling kind of exposed, and you don't feel ballsy enough to randomly approach any of the groups of people clustered together talking. You head to a clear spot on the back wall and lean against it. For some reason, this always feels a lot more secure. You scan the party for a familiar face or any sign of your partner, and come up with nothing. Not sure what else to do, and worrying that you must look creepy just standing there watching everyone, you take out your phone to busy yourself. 20 semi-tedious games of Bejeweled Blitz later, your partner returns. In my case, it would probably be Candy Crush. You spend the rest of the night with Alex, occasionally being introduced to people and nodding along with group conversations, even if you don't participate that much. At the end of the night, as you're falling asleep with your girlfriend in the crook of your arm, she thanks you again for coming. Half drunk, she confides that she thought you were going to flake out. I was pleasantly surprised that you managed to come out. She says it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement. Alright. I'm going to leave it there for now, just because I want to pace myself out with this. But, yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Kind of looking forward to what I'll learn about myself in this experience. And I hope you are too. I'll see you later.